Hello students, today you're going to take vocabulary video notes on blood and cardiac terms. Go ahead and make sure that you draw the pictures once I tell you, and then pay attention to the pictures because they might be on the next test. And also make sure to make your original sentences for each term. Let's begin. The first word for today is hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is a red protein that's inside of all blood cells that can chemically bond with oxygen in order to transport it to the rest of your cells in your body. Here's the picture you're gonna draw in a minute. You don't have to draw all of it, just a cell. And then notice also the shape, how it looks like a disc. So it's kind of hollow here. And red blood cells are the only ones that don't have a nucleus. They initially do, but then they eject it so they can carry more glucose and oxygen. So hemoglobin is this right here, this molecule, and they can attach, it chemically bonds with oxygen to transport it. So at the molecular level, hemoglobin can capture oxygen and then release it when it gets close to a cell and drop it off and then go pick up some more. Again, you don't have to draw the whole thing, just draw the disc shape. Draw the disc blood cell shape. The first original sentence that you can use, you can just use mine, I'll underline it to distinguish, is hemoglobin can capture oxygen in my blood and transport it from my lungs to the rest of my cells. Alright, the other sentences you have to make. Number 2 is bone marrow, and we briefly talked about it when we talked about skeletal. But aside from compact and spongy, inside there's the bone marrow, and it's also a type of tissue, and it's the one that makes the blood. So if you look over here, let's review. We have the compact bone, that's the hard outer casing of the bone, and then we have the spongy bone. And those are the two major types of tissue of the bone. And this tissue, the bone marrow, is also part of the bone, but it also works for the cardiovascular system. So you can see how these systems interact. One organ or tissue might help out another organ or tissue, so they kind of work, they have to work together. And the bone marrow is the one that makes the blood inside the bones. Go ahead and make an original sentence and then draw that picture briefly and then move on to the next point. And the last one is cardiac tissue. Although we talked about muscles and the heart actually have something to do with each other. The heart is made up of cardiac tissue. So if you look at a piece of a heart, just like the one over here, you can sketch it briefly. You don't have to be so detailed oriented, but put some details in it. If you look at the tissues, the cells of a heart, if you dissect it and put it under a microscope, that's made up of these muscle cells. And these muscle cells that live in the heart are very stretchy and can push, of course, and pump your blood all over. And that kind of tissue is called the cardiac tissue. And the cardiac tissue is responsible for the heart, which pumps the blood all over your body. Under a microscope, you can tell the differences in the muscle cells. You can tell where something's from looking at the cells. Here's the actual microscope version of it, and here's like a drawing of it. You can see skeletals are very stretchy. The cardiacs are stretchy but a little bit thinner, and then the smooth are much, much thinner, as you can see here. And the cardiac a little bit like more webbed as well. So, cardiac tissue is the kind of muscle tissue that makes up a very important organ of the cardiovascular system, which is the heart. Go ahead and briefly sketch that picture out, create an original sentence, and then move on to the next thing. Have a good day.